Hello everybody, and today I'm here to discuss with you what occurred on January 6, 2021, which often people thought of it to be the point in which the Electoral College certification would be rejected because everyone grouped together and the show of patriotism ended up turning into a disaster. Now, before I go too far into this, I wish to discuss and say that I do not believe violence was the way at all. I often critiqued the left's riots that occurred all throughout the summer, and thus the same has to be applied to the right. You cannot be unfair to one side. You can't be hypocritical, right? So it was unjust what happened, and needless lives were lost. In total, 50 people and above were arrested. There was about 14 officers that were injured throughout the whole event, and then 4 deaths were reported amid the whole protests that were occurring and riots. We saw the Capitol buildings being stormed, and overall it was quite a messy affair, and I feel horrible for the lives that were lost. Things like this should never occur, and it is not right. People often thought this would be the Boston Tea Party, but instead this was unjust loss of life. And it seems to me that people on the right, not everyone, I think the vast majority of the people on the right are good people, but there's a few that wish to take advantage of the situation just to loot, riot, and cause chaos. And those people should be prosecuted underneath the law, 100%. Now, with that being said, let's move forward with a little bit more news that occurred. After all the chaos, the Congress certifies the Electoral College vote, and thus Biden is president, in which Trump came out and said that while he's still not done objecting, that there will be a peaceful transition of power. So do keep that in mind. Now, it's also important to note, after what occurred on the day, there's a few different things that popped out. First off was that the cabinet members are discussing invoking the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump. Now, that's because of the chaos that occurred. However, I think this would be a terrible route to happen given that Trump is leaving in roughly 2 weeks' time anyways. Why kick out the man and cause even more trouble? And yet that's what it seems like the left is really trying to push for. On top of that, Twitter then strikes down on Trump, locking him out of his account for 12 hours. However, if you look towards Trump, he stated multiple different tweets stating that he wishes the violence to go away and that things to be peaceful, that we are the party of law and order. Now, it doesn't make anything better, however, that Trump also sent out a video saying that the election was a fraud given everything that was going on. So you have a lot of different conundrums going on right now, a lot of different false reports. There was a report, for example, that Pence, not Trump, gave out the order to activate the National Guard when that simply was not the case. So overall, yesterday was quite the turmoil of times, so to speak. And yet what really stands out, and again, I am not trying to undervalue or underplay what occurred yesterday. Yesterday, we saw a needless loss of life and damage occur, right? But it is important to note that the media was silent on what happened over in Portland, Oregon, for example, when we saw the Summer of Love. And yet when this happens by those on the right, immediately they come up and say that it's domestic terrorism, that Trump needs to be removed from office, and that Mitt Romney, for example, is saying that Trump is trying to cause all of this, that this is what the president has caused when it comes about the mayhem that happened on Capitol Hill. So there's quite this difference in narrative that's being pushed by the media and that's being pushed by everyone on the left in general. And I do consider Mitt Romney someone that's centered and a little bit to the left. But in all regards, it seems quite honest that it's a joke how the media portrayed this. Again, I am not trying to support what happened with what happened on January 6th in DC, but why did the media not condemn every past riot, but this one they do? Kind of weird. Anyways, going forward, what we also see is that the Senate is going to be a 50-50 split, and I guess I'll go in a video on a different time about that in more depth. But in either case, what we're going to see is it's going to be a difficult time. The Republican Party, their name has been ran through the mud now with this, and I bet you for the course of the next year, potentially even more coming into the 2022 elections, that this event that occurred, what happened down at DC, is going to be used against us consistently, that we did not want a peaceful transition and that we've done everything in our power to hurt democracy. And overall, those that caused damage down in DC has done an insane amount of damage to the Republican Party and defaced America. We look like a joke now on the world stage because we couldn't even accept the results of the election. We are babies in that regard. Anyways, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Leave a like, do subscribe, and as always, God bless America.